Hi guys, today I'm going to do a video on how to prepare for your first point shoe fitting. In this video I may feature some other tips that perhaps might be handy to those of us who are already on point. Anyway, let's get on with the video. First of all, you're going to need to find yourself a good point shoe fitter. I do mobile point shoe fitting in Essex and London in England and places nearby. If, for instance, you live somewhere where there aren't really any dance shops nearby, then you'll need to do some research. You can do that quite easily by going online and finding, recommendations of good dance shops near to you. I recommend going to a variety of dance shops and fitters in one day if you can. Reason being, you'll get to try a lot of different brands and shoes, which is really vital for a good first fitting. You may, for example, find a shoe that you like, but it's still worthwhile trying on all the others just to see what works and what doesn't, because you never know, you might find one even better. Prior to going to your fitting, because it's quite an exciting time and you might feel a bit overwhelmed, make sure that you've eaten a good meal and drank plenty. You'll also need to make sure that your toenails are nice and short. Not too short because you don't want them to be sore, not too long because that would be agony. So make sure you cut them at least a week before, I would suggest. That way your toes have time to get nice and ready, sort of thing. Because if your toes are cut just a few days before, they can still be quite sore, on top near the skin. So you want to make sure you do it at least a week before, really. What you wear to your fitting is also very important. If you wear baggy trousers, they're going to be no good because the fitter's not going to be able to see your alignment. It's very key to the fitter to be able to see the dancer's alignment, so straight knees, how her hips are. So make sure you wear something a shortish kind of skirt or dress combined with your tights or socks, whatever you're going to wear with your shoes, or even say some leggings because they're tight enough that we can see the alignment. Preferably if you're going to wear trousers or leggings, make sure again they are tight fitting, but don't wear a baggy top with them. You want to make sure you wear a close kind of fitting top or leotard. That way the fitter can see your hips too, which is very important. I would also suggest thinking about what you're going to wear in your point shoes. Are you going to wear standard ouch pouches? Are you going to wear the pro style? Are you going to wear jellos? Are you going to just wear lamb's wool? There are so many options for padding in your point shoes, and it's something that you'll need to consider before going there ideally. So do speak to your teacher about what your dance school advises, because some dance schools are quite strict about what they can and can't wear in their point shoes. If you've got a free rein on what you can wear in your shoes, then it's ideal to find a dancewear shop that stocks a variety of padding. If they just do ouch pouches, it's okay to wear those, it's totally fine, but it's nice if you've got that variation there so you can try shoes on with a variety of different styles of padding. That way you can find one that's really suited to you. And remember that when you're fitted with your shoe and you find your first pair of shoes, whatever padding that you've been fitted in wearing the shoes during the fitting itself is what you will need to wear when you go to class. If you switch padding or socks or tights, whatever, it will affect the way the shoe fits due to the width. For example, if you went from wearing a standard ouch pouch to something thicker, then it's likely that you'll go up a width in the point shoe. If you wore a thicker ouch pouch and then went down to say the pro pad or something smaller, then it's likely you'll need to go down a width in the shoe. You'll also want to make sure you've got enough money with you, so whoever's buying your shoes will need to be informed of the cost. First point shoes are going to cost quite a bit of money, mainly due to the fact you'll be buying everything in one go. So you'll be getting your point shoes, whatever padding you're going to be wearing, if you're going to need spacers or gel toe caps or anything like that. Plus you're going to need to factor in the cost of ribbons and elastics, and maybe suede caps for the tips, or darning thread if you're going to darn the point shoes. There are lots of little bits like that that are going to factor into the cost. You'll also want to make sure that you buy yourself a mesh point shoe bag so you can dry your shoes correctly without them getting all mushy and gross. Do not put them in the plastic bag they come in, it will kill your shoes a lot faster. You may find that during your first point shoe fitting you won't find a shoe for you. Don't get disheartened. I know it's really annoying when you go for a fitting, you get your first shoes and they haven't got something that suits. There's no point just settling for anything, because if you do, you're just going to end up with injuries or a shoe that is just complete waste of money. It is well worth waiting it out, finding another store, or you know, going for another fitting somewhere else. Or maybe it's a case of they need to order a certain shoe in for you, or you might even need a custom order shoe. So do bear that in mind. You may not get your first pair of Pointe shoes during your first fitting straight away. Another thing I've found is with certain shops, they do like a quick sell, and they aren't very dedicated to finding you the correct shoe. They just want your money and they're not really bothered about the dancer. Personally, I'm not like that at all. I don't force a sale. I make sure that I'm going to get the dancer the shoe that suits her best, whatever it takes. You know, money is not a factor for me. I'm not there to make the money, I'm there to help the dancer. Now, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of fitters out there who are passionate and will get you the right shoe, but make sure that, you know, even though they know that you're new to Pointe, that you're not going to be walked over. So do try on as many variations as you like. Don't be afraid to ask them what sizes and widths they're putting you in, and it's also very important to think about shank strength. Some schools prefer to have beginners in a stronger shank for the support. Some dance schools prefer to see a dancer in a softer shank so she can like gain more strength in her feet. Personally, I feel that you should just fit the dancer accordingly. If a dancer has a medium arch, she's going to need a medium shank. If she has a stronger arch, a stronger foot, she's going to need a stronger shank, you know? If dancer's having trouble getting on the box, it's usually due to the case that she's a beginner, hasn't got the strength yet, needs a softer shank, maybe a shorter vamp. You know, there's all these kind of variations that you need to think about. If you feel that something's not quite right, don't be afraid to say to them, you know, that shoe really doesn't feel good to you. Make sure you try on a variety. But do bear in mind that going on Pointe is not going to be pain-free. It's not meant to be agony, but at the same time you are going to feel that pressure. The ideal shoe, you're going to feel a nice kind of cupping sensation around your foot, so it's supporting you here. You don't want to feel like you're sinking. If you sink straight down into the box and you feel really bad like big toe pain, that shoe is no good for you. It's most likely too wide or too square in the box. You need to feel supported around here, and it needs to hug your foot nice and tight. It's not designed to feel like a slipper. You need to feel that support straight away, because remember, shoes do break in over time. So you've got to imagine you want a nice tight fit now, because as soon as the shoe breaks down, you're going to lose that support around the side of the foot. You're also going to want to make sure that you're getting the correct length. You cannot grow into Pointe shoes, so if you're a younger dancer and your parent wants to buy you a shoe that's bigger because they think you're going to grow into it, that's a no-no. Pointe shoes cannot be fit like that. They're not like street shoes. You have to be fit with the correct size whilst you're there, and you know, you will grow and your feet will change, so do bear that in mind. You will need to go for regular fittings. If you're still growing, then it's a case of maybe a fitting every 6 months to a year, depending how fast you're growing and how quickly your feet are changing. Do remember that you can reuse your ribbons and elastics. I recommend buying the block elasto rib or other such ribbons where they have the elastic piece for the Achilles tendon. That way you're not going to put additional pressure on the Achilles, and it will, you know, it helps younger dancers as well when they're tying their shoes not to go too tightly with the ribbons. Also with the elastics, again, they are reusable, so that's a way of cutting costs. I also have a helpful guide on my website, www.straighttothepointe.net, which features a blog post in which I've wrote about some handy tips and tricks for dancers who are new to Pointe, which is really handy. Another important thing I've thought about is when you get your Pointe shoes, bring them home, don't sew the ribbons or the elastics, don't do anything to them, don't break them in. If you're going to wear them, make sure you wear them on carpet or a towel or something clean so they don't get marked, because the important thing is here, you're going to need to take them to your teacher and you're going to need to wear them in front of her and see if she feels you have the right shoe for you. This is really important. So many dancers end up with the wrong shoe at shops, and then it's too late because they've sewn the ribbons on and you can't take the shoes back. Most dance shops and fitters will take the shoes back and give you an exchange if you've done nothing to them and they're in new condition. Really do remember this. I think that's everything covered now for your first fitting. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment box below or email me directly. Also, please do check out my website, www.straighttothepointe.net, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thanks!